Okay, it's recording. I'm just looking at the last times we talked.
It's about 10 minutes ago, I think.
How you doing?
Good. Actually, it's crazy because the next day I went into work and the GM made a comment, and it was like by 8:30 a.m. made a comment, and the next thing, and it was like in front of a couple other people, and I think anyways, the manager came in and I said, we got to talk to Reza because he's making these comments. I don't need to worry about my job. It's not okay. Like, I am stressing about this stuff. And he pulled him in there and he sincerely apologized and said he was just doing it in a joking manner. And I said it wasn't funny. He's like, Heather, I've known you for 20 years. Like, I thought you had thicker skin than that. And I was like,
Really? So it's my fault that your joke sucked.
Yeah, I was like, well, I don't. And it's not okay. I go, I'm learning this role. I feel like I'm doing a good job, but I question if I'm doing a good job because of the stuff that you're saying to me. And he was like, Heather, you're doing a great job. Like, he said all the things. And then actually, David, in the process of that conversation, because David was there, clarified that it would be not a co-manager situation. It would actually be, I would have the final say and I would be above so it was all like me worrying about it. It was all me kind of putting it in my head, even though he had kind of alluded to other things. It was very good all in all.
Okay,
that
good.
being said, I haven't had the opportunity to talk to Mike. He hasn't been there. So, I asked David's advice later on in that day. I said, I want you to know it's on my forefront. I know what I want to say. I feel like I've been kicking butt, all these things, but I don't want it to be like I'm not bringing it up and I'm getting this guarantee and yada yada.
Right.
But should I message him? Should I text him? Should I email him? And he goes, I wouldn't. I would just wait. The next time that he's at the store, I'll let you know. And so I followed his advice on that, and I think that he'll be back at the store on like Thursday. We think. I don't know for sure.
No.
So either way, it was like all done and dusted, and that whole scenario was like, for the most part, cleared up by, obviously the pay thing is a very, very big thing, but I know it'll get sorted. It's just that made me feel a lot more confident going into that discussion as well.
Right.
Because it was a lot of apology, a lot of, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that this is where your head was. And he's been way more docile and friendly and communicative since then. So I think that he genuinely thought he was funny, but it wasn't.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Well, and let's just say that he was being funny.
Mm-hmm.
And you were in a place to where you could hear him say that and not give a shit. Or it didn't matter. So for whatever reason, where I would go with you, because I'm not saying you're wrong or that you were wrong to stand up for yourself at all, but what I would push into is just for your own self-awareness practice is, okay, what did his joke matter? Why did it matter? What was it about it? Was it how you were perceived by the people around you that you cared about? Like where did this for you touch a sensitive place?
I think that I need to be told that I'm doing a good job more than I should. Like, affirmation that I'm doing a good job. Like, I know I'm trying.
Okay, so his joke was like
making me feel like I'm not.
So it was like pause a second, because nothing makes you feel anything. However, your interpretation ultimately is, and your beliefs about it as a bad thing are where the emotions reside. However, did you understand what I just said?
Kind of.
Okay, no one can make you feel anything. Your feelings stem from beliefs that you hold. And so he can have different beliefs and say what he's saying and not and not know he's being offensive.
Yeah.
Because there's two different cultures, two different experiences, two different
Mm-hmm.
lives, two different sets of parents. Uh, think of the complexity around why something to you would be offensive and to him. Granted, you're in the same culture, right? You could say, well, in the
Mm-hmm.
same culture. So this would be like my children when we lived in Birmingham, Alabama, got in trouble because they didn't say yes, ma'am, or yes, sir. But to us, that's like unnecessary, but culturally it means something there. So people
Mm-hmm.
believe that, then my kids don't say it, then they're perceived as bad children trying to be disrespectful. And none of it is actually true. It's just all this
Mm-hmm.
make believe around, and also meaning making, which is what culture is, making meaning of things. So where I would go for you is, okay, what would uh
Why was that?
well, why does it matter? And what I'm hearing from you, and please correct me, is that matters because I'm feeling insecure.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So am I. Can I just say that? Can I say that out loud? Hello, I'm insecure too in so many different ways. The question is, how comfortable are you with insecurity?
Mm. I guess clearly not, even though I've been very open with the fact that um, I'm learning this role. I know I'm not going to be perfect at it.
Yeah. So you've been vulnerable. I say it was a vulnerable um to even bring it up.
Yeah.
But that's your fight
Yeah.
response. You have no problem with fighting. You have no problem being like, you don't even.
But I mean, it did help. I mean, there was a lot to unpack with that it was bothering me on the weekends and my days off. And it's settled that, which is kind of like, why is it necessary? You're right. So, like, why is it necessary for him to validate that I'm doing a good job? When at the core of me, I know I'm busting my butt and I'm doing a good job.
Right.
Why do I have to get the validation
Mm-hmm.
from people above me?
Do you see why I went deep in
Yeah.
this?
Yeah.
It's like a moment to understand yourself. It really is. And it doesn't mean you need to change or you've done anything wrong. It just is like, hold on a second. Let me get a sense of why in this area I'm a little more strict and why their perception, even if it is joking, it
Offends me, it
feels
hurts me.
feels important, like it matters. Right. So I would say, for example, I mean, this is an extreme example, but it might give you a sense of this. Uh when you're a little kid or when a little kid is mad at you and they like, I hate you. And you're like, oh, it doesn't really matter because you
Yeah.
recognize they're having those feelings. You don't want to dismiss those feelings. But why is it that that doesn't hurt? But then when it's someone that's a peer, like your peer group, right? Why does that matter so much? And so we could say, is this person a peer of yours or is he a mentor?
I wouldn't say he's a mentor.
But he's a peer.
Yeah. But he's above me at my job. So, I mean, it would be nice to call him a mentor, but
Sure, but he is in a power. There's
yeah.
a power dynamic in terms of
Yeah.
hierarchy. So
Yeah.
let's poke at that for a moment. Is it the hierarchical order that is why it matters? Even though it seems to him like you are a peer,
Mm-hmm.
PEER, right? You are a part of his peer group. He's like, ah.
Yeah. Yeah.
In
I
your
think,
previous
and
role, could you have handled it?
he didn't do it. He didn't really do it. At least I didn't. If he did, I was like, I think I was so comfortable in my role that I would be like, whatever, you don't even know what you're talking about. Like, I kick ass. Like, you know what I mean? Like, whatever. I'm kicking ass and taking names. Like, I think it's because I'm not sure of myself. I'm not confident yet.
Mm-hmm. Right. That's that
And
vulnerability. Okay.
yeah.
Well, if you accept ahead of time that you are learning, that you are just a, let's say, a little baby Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
It's you got to be okay, right? Like you know it. You've said it. Like I know I'm learning. I know I need the lenience, but is it for you being seen? Is it the idea that others see you as competent or is it's that maybe it's connected to the inflated idea that you want to be seen as special and exceptional and if they're seeing you as like the normal,
Mm-hmm.
figuring shit out, tripping up here and there.
Um, I don't know. I think it just made me feel unsteady with how, like, am I doing good enough at this job? Am I going to get demoted? Because those were the comments that he was making. Like, we're going to move you back out on the service drive. We're going to move this person in here, and David's going to move into your role or whatever. And I was like, what? And I snapped. Of course, I was like a rattlesnake back. I kind of said a sly comment. And,
Yeah.
but I think it made me feel uneasy. That's what it was. It made me feel like I was insufficient and I wasn't gonna make it. I don't like feeling that way.
Oh yeah, that I could
Especially
see
after,
where sorry, I could see where that would feel threatening too.
yeah. So I think I was feeling like, and then it made me feel like I'm doing all of this and this is the way I get treated. Like, I guess a
Ooh,
little bit of
there it
both.
is. There's that inflated there. Yeah, she went right. Oh yeah, I'm I'm amazing. Don't do that to me.
So
It's just interesting that your default is to fight. I think it's I mean, you're a badass. How dare he finger you?
mm-hmm. Yeah, I was like, I'll entertain way more options at jobs before I would consider being demoted here.
Right. Okay, so this is
That's what
where
I said.
this is where I would say what are alternative reactions? Let's play with this a little bit.
Mm.
Because they're all good. These are all good responses. You're not. This is not a bad response, but to me, this is your default. It's like we need to
Mm-hmm.
we need to diversify.
Yeah, we need something different.
Right. Right.
It's the same old thing.
It's like I'll fucking rip your throat out. Or you
Another
know what? I'm
thing
just
would
gonna
be,
leave. Bye.
yeah, fleeing.
Exactly. I'm gonna abandon the situation. You're discarded. Yeah. See, I love how you're laughing at it. It's like let's not take ourselves so goddamn serious.
Yeah.
So another way we could let me process this a little bit and present and then you can play with it. But maybe another reaction could have been to actually go and say, "Hey, I'd love to talk to you a little bit. You said this, and of course, you could have been joking or whatever, but I'm actually feeling a little vulnerable. Do you think that I am, where you're more open to instead
Mm.
of fighting and being like inflated a little bit, being able to
Mm.
say, I'm really needing help in a lot of areas. What areas do you think I need work on? Um, because I don't want to get demoted. So do you
Mm-hmm.
feel the difference in that reaction?
Mm-hmm.
It's like leaning into what if he is saying something that has some truth to, what if he does think that? Even if he's being jokey, what if there is truth to what he's saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You might right away be like, shut up, Robin. You're a dumb bitch. I'm amazing, which is great. But what if you're not? What if you're not? What if
Well, and
it,
then what if, am I willing to hear what he has to say if I ask that question?
well, that has to happen ahead of time. You're not going to ask the question and
Without being
be and
willing.
come to the, face to face, eye to eye and be like, "Hey, I actually am curious like because I am learning, I'm figuring this out and I know that this may take a certain temperament, a certain set of skills. Um what it is that I need to work on. Like, where could is it my temperament? Is it my whatever?
I think that's what it is. It's
Well,
because the only times that like, and David will be like, well, I think that the way you said this to this person, they took this way. And I'm like, well, doesn't whatever.
shut the fuck up.
Of course,
You're not going to talk to me like
of
that.
course you think that's what I mean. And he's like, well, I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
I think you could have taken this approach a little different. We did have this lady that came in this past week, and she, I think, was like, no joking, like severe. It's like she has some kind of unchecked, I don't know, it was bipolar. I don't know any
Just
of that
something.
stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Something serious. And she'd come in the one day. She was there for like 2 hours. We finally just got her out of there in a rental, and then like she was supposed to come back on Friday when it was done, and she didn't. And she's like, she would respond to call, text, all this stuff. It was just this whole long drawn out thing. And so Saturday, I'm with the advisor trying to communicate with her, and she's going to these diatribes via email. And I did the same normal stuff that we would do. Like, listen, if you don't bring our car back within 24 hours, we're going to have to incur rental fees and stuff like that. Like the same normal stuff we would say to anybody, but the difference was she wasn't normal.
Mm.
And then she's like, I don't understand. Like, you're threatening me to bring I'm like, we just want you to pick your car up, and we want a rental car back. Like, this is all via email with another person. So I'm
Yes. Yeah.
replying. I'm telling him what we need to do, and then she's like, well, and we were like, listen, we can bring your car to you and pick up the loaner. Like, these are services again that we would offer somebody that's normal. She just went crazy. And of course he was like, at the end of all of it, I ended up calling the cops and saying, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm not trying to get her in trouble. I don't think I can get her in trouble. Not that was not where I was going, but she had sent an email. I don't feel safe, and I feel very afraid in an email. And I was like, what? All because we were offering to like pick her car up, whatever, and take it to her. It was just crazy. Anyways, so I called them and I was like, I don't know what's going on with her way of thinking, but I know she's not well. I'm not saying that to be disparaging. I'm being completely honest and coming from a caring place, but she's making these statements now and I need to know what to do. So they were like, her name sounds familiar. I'm like, this is great. It's just great.
Right, because she's really experiencing what she's experiencing.
Yeah,
It's twisted, but
so they called and just to check on her. And anyways, next thing you know, she gets to the dealership within 2 minutes with her rental coming back. And at the end of it, Rez is just like leaving her out there, and everybody's like, "You need to get this lady." Nobody wanted to help her. Like, they knew who she was. She didn't even get out of the car. And I'm just like listening to her, and it's like reasoning. I couldn't reason with her. I wasn't trying to reason, but she was just like, well, then call the cops on me. Call the cop. I go, I don't want to call the cop. She goes, well, why did you call? And I go, I was worried about you. I was genuinely worried about you because you said you were scared and afraid. And I wanted to make sure that you were okay.
yeah,
We are
and
trying
you
to
felt
help
safe.
you, and that you felt safe. And whether you are coming here, like, if you want the cops, like, it's fine. Like, we can figure this out. But, like, I'm coming from a good place. I'm giving you your car. I just want our car back. And, like, everybody's fine. We're good. Like,
wow, you did. That's incredible.
Well, but then it was just, she just went really. Anyways, of course, at the end of that, he goes, I mean, I think you could have handled that better. And I'm like, I'm sure, you know what? Like, I'm
really?
sure a million people could have handled it better.
I don't think it could have been handled any better.
I don't think I'm not a mental health expert.
Right.
B, whatever happened, she got the car back in within 5 minutes. So like the controller was like, at the end of the day, she got the rental back within 5 minutes of like it going south. And that's all that. Yeah. So.
Well, yeah. Wow. That's kind of a nightmare. Poor lady.
That happened as well. But yeah, no, and I looked her up because we'll do this. People are crazy. I mean, it can be whatever. And I know this is like, we looked her up and I'm like, she's got friends. Yeah. She's got nieces and nephews. Like I found her on social media, like, and from like 9 months ago looks completely different.
So maybe she's an addict.
Yeah, or
substance
something.
misuse, some type of mental break. Well,
anyways.
And that was her reality.
Yeah.
Dang it. Okay, so kind of back to you. If you were to go into it with the, hey, where could I get better? I want to make sure I'm a good fit for this position, where you're open to the truth. And he would feel safe to be like, well, then you could actually get the truth of what he's thinking. It could have been like, oh no, you're incredible. I was just messing with you. You're sensitive. You're the new person. Like we do this with everybody. Whatever he might have said, well, I think you're doing great, but honestly, if you want my feedback, let's look at this. And then in that case, it's not a fight at all. You're actually saying, hey, I'm open. Mm-hmm. It's like leaning into what is the truth rather than leaning into your bias, which is what you want, right? There's a dream. That's an amazing thing, right? Because you can have a dream for what you want. Like I wrote my books. I had a dream for what I wanted before I did it. And that dream energized the work it took to actually do it day to day, in and out for years on end, right? So the dream is great, but what if you are actually not the best suited for this career path or for this role in this career path? So the openness to that ahead of time softens your forcefulness around its Did that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's deep. It's like a lot. So
can we just slow it down?
Yes.
Because I think this is important. I know this is important. When you're wanting to achieve something, humans have this amazing skill of foresight. It's part of our imagination. We are the most imaginary animal. We are make-believe animals. We can make believe witches should be burned at the stake. Mm-hmm. We make believe all sorts of stuff and we believe it, right? And that make believe can be that woman going through all of that drama and chaos because she was in the make believe reality being attacked. Mm-hmm. Right? And there's history behind that. There's a history behind why she acted that way. There's conditioning. Think of a dog that gets kicked over and over again. And why do they get really aggressive towards people's feet? Well, shit, okay. Mm-hmm. Humans are the same, make believe. So when we use it to advance or to motivate, like when we have the foresight to say, hey, I want to go back to college. Okay. That you imagine it. You're imagining what that is. You're imagining with what you're aware of, right? Because you see people graduate, they get this degree, they're very proud and blah, 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 and they can get a job or whatever. So you can put yourself in those shoes. That type of imagination impels a lot of hard work. It energizes. It's one of those things that we manifest. And I hate using that fucking wellness word because the wellness industry is so corrupt. But you can manifest these imaginations, given that you have the self-confidence to say, I can achieve that. Whether you have the money to support it, right? We can say there's a lot of things that go into the self-efficacy of being able to say, I can learn, I can do. You have to imagine it. You have to have the resources. There has to be some degree of achievability, the fact that you think you can do it and it's reachable. That often comes because you have the money, you have the resources, you have the access. So all of those things together, you can take foresight and then create on some level what you want. So when you're thinking about this role, okay, you had an imagination of what it's going to do for you. You imagined the money. You imagined the buying power. You imagined the role, the power, the open, whatever you imagined something. Mm-hmm. And that was like worth it. There was a worth to it that you felt. There was a dopamine hit that said yes. And that impelled all the work. But that imagination doesn't necessarily mean it's true or reachable. It could be delusional. I'm not saying that's you. And in that case, wouldn't you want to know ahead of time?
Yeah.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah.
Am I delusional? Well, put yourself out there. I have enough efficacy that I can teach myself, that I can learn new things. That's kind of you. You have that kind of like high level of efficacy. That's the confidence that I can teach myself anything. I can do anything. And I will work my ass off to do it, even though it hurts everything else in my life. But you have, so you have enough confidence, right? I'm willing to sacrifice everything. And that has taken you pretty far, right? But what if it's your imagination again is off? Meaning there is stuff you couldn't see. There's no amount of hard work. There's no amount of sacrifice. There's no amount of youthfulness that you can bring to this table. Maybe it comes down to the fact that you are not the owner's child, or the fact that you are, a working class blue collar individual. For you to get where you need to go, you're going to have a mental health problem because it's really not reachable. I'm just giving a bunch of scenarios. With that said, like, for example, I had my gym. My gym was amazing. I was the owner. We were leveraged to the hilt. And let me tell you, the 2008 crash was out of my control. And I ended up having to file bankruptcy and close my gym in 2010. So no matter how good it was, no matter how hard I worked, I didn't have enough parental money or generational wealth handed down to me. Even though, had I been rich and had rich parents, or had I known, whatever, but I didn't.
No, that was going to happen.
Yeah. So the failure of it was something I couldn't have foreseen, because you can't foresee the bank crisis of 2007, 8, 9, whatever. And I couldn't handle it. The truth is, I couldn't handle it. That's the truth. Does that mean I'm sucky? No. I have my bankruptcy discharge papers right there next to my certificate, right here. Boom. That's a bankruptcy discharge right there. All of the college degrees minus my PhD, that'll come in a year, right? But does that make sense? So you're putting yourself out there, you're jumping forward, badass, you're amazing, you have that efficacy, and you need to be open to what if you don't have all of what it takes, or you do have what it takes, but it comes at such a high cost to your relationships and your life that it's just not worth it. So that leaning in, that's what I meant when I was saying earlier. And you know what? We're at 28 minutes. Just go back to 20 minutes. I'm on an 8-minute rant. You'll get all this in slow motion when you get the video. I hope you understood what I just said.
Yes. Yeah.
So that part of when he says, oh, we'll just demote you. And it's like, oh, that's like, what if that's true? And you're going, no, it's not. I'm amazing. Well, what if it is true?
I would look at, then I guess it would be what you said, which is like, it wasn't meant to be, right? That's okay. Explore a different avenue and realize that this avenue was costing me time, relationships, sanity, cortisol, this health, that this other avenue won't. And maybe I can learn to be more financially stable, and it's not all about consumerism and the buy that just lends into it all.
Yeah. Right. What do you really want? You got it. And yeah, so lean in a little bit. If you fight, you're more likely. Let's see if you can answer the question then. What happens if you just fight to prove yourself no matter what?
It probably would take me longer because I wouldn't be open to hearing, okay, well, this is maybe something I need to work on. So I'm just over here busy fighting. So I would get to the same place probably, but it would take a lot longer and I might end up there alone.
Yeah, I think that is definitely one route. Yeah. I also feel like another thing that could happen is you are exhausted.
Yeah, yeah,
Like this shouldn't cost you so much,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you
Yeah,
know,
I agree.
where the money isn't even usable because you don't have time to use the money.
Yeah.
What is the cost? And at some point, the cost is not worth the reward because the end goal isn't achievable. It's just a moving target, right? Because this is just the way it is. This is
Mm-hmm.
the way it functions. It's not like you run a marathon, you reach the finish line and you achieved the marathon, or you got the
It just
certificate that
goes to
says
the
that I
different.
did it.
Yeah.
Imagine that your whole life, like, can you imagine for me, like getting my PhD, like if this was what it was like all the time, all the time, all the time, maybe I wouldn't achieve it,
Yeah.
or maybe I wouldn't continue. But if someone likes the research process and they love academia and they would love their PhD process, they would keep on going. They would love it. That makes sense. Versus
Mm-hmm.
someone else who's like, this is ridiculous. I can't keep up. I'm going to go get the achievement and then I'm going to open myself to alternatives. That's also a good ending, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I guess yes, you're right. What would happen is you wouldn't be open to the feedback. You'd be forcing what you already know because you don't know what you don't know. And those are the things you're not open to. So you end up wearing yourself out, wearing out relationships, and working way harder than you need to.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a good fit for you because you're not malleable.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're malleable, do you know what that means?
Moldable,
Yes.
changeable.
Moldability, adaptability requires that you are open to change. You're open to the
Mm-hmm.
feedback and going, oh, it's going to take this approach. Oh, okay. I can see now why I was struggling and why they would be like, oh, she keeps on doing the same thing. It's really not going to help her. There's another technique she could use, but if you're like, fuck you, I'm amazing. Don't even get in my lane. Stay in your lane. Yeah, but I don't want to beat that to a pulp.
Yeah.
So, how is your eating? Let's go into your emotional eating bullshit. Where's that baggage? Let's bring it back in.
I think I was doing really, really good today. I had a little bit of a stressful day with that same writer that I had talked about the last time, and we hadn't had an opportunity to talk. And anyway, she had asked me something, or she was saying something, and I guess I got short and snippy with her. I didn't even realize I was doing it. And then, anyways, in response, she's a type A personality too. So we're very, very similar on our personality profiles.
You mean your fight or flight profile?
She's just a type A. So
Do you know what type
short.
A is?
I get like direct.
It's someone who is really insecure, who's using perfectionism, has anxiety. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's not it is not something to be proud of.
Okay.
It is full of misery. A very low lenience level. It is not something to be proud of, and it is not a personality trait. It is a fight or flight response.
So, well, me and her have a very similar
fight response.
Yeah.
And efficacy.
And yeah, and so I guess I said something to her that was short, and I wasn't meaning to be. I genuinely was not meaning to be, but she, in response, and a lot of times what it is I'll be in the middle of talking about something else, and she just comes up and starts. And so I think that was even what was happening. I was talking to somebody else, and she interrupts, and then I had a short response, and she turned around and was like, okay, Miss Snappy Pants, because that's going to make the situation better, you know? And I didn't say anything back. I was just like, really? Like, because I thought that of myself, like, is that going to really make this situation better? And I had nothing to, like, I wasn't even going to, because I was not trying to be snappy.
Right.
So then I was like very cautious around her, like throughout the rest of the day. But then there was another time where she was like, I don't know. And then she was like kind of just getting an attitude of me, even just trying to have a regular conversation. And I said, all right, well, we're just going to talk to David about this situation and see what, because it sounds like we don't know exactly what this car needs. You know, like
Right.
there's a lot more rolling and we're jumping to a conclusion of doing this request. I don't want to do a request and have to pull out or make a mistake on it, whatever. And she was like, fine. And like, just, but it was just like once that ball started rolling for her, she was going to die on that hill. Like she was going to continue to give attitude the rest of the day. And I was just like, okay, like it's fine. Like I'm just over here.
I'm telling you,
And
she is very little lenience. There's not a whole lot of grace, not very much malleability. Like she has to maintain a status. This is called fight or flight. This is a crummy way to live. But
so we talked in the evening before we left, and I said to David, I was like, let's just talk to her really quick because there's a few things where she doesn't know. I'll walk by and she's giving incorrect advice on the phone, and you know, like somebody's talking about jumping off their battery, and she's telling them to jump it and just leave it running, and that just kills an alternator. It's not good for the car. Right. Like so, she'll give incorrect information, and I don't know if it's because somebody's told her that. I doubt it because no one would tell her that. None of the mechanics, none of the educated advisors would tell her that. And then, but at the same time too, she has me feeling a way where like I can't even share, hey, this is the right way to do this, or that's incorrect information. And so
because she has to maintain a status of I am right. So we're describing her with this whole last 20 minutes.
Yeah. So I said to her, she goes, well, because you snap, and sometimes it's like your way or the highway, and you just don't want to listen, and you fire off right away. And I apologize for that. I said that that's not my intention. I will try to make a point to be better at that because that is not how I want her to feel. You know?
Look at you.
I tried to say to her,
you're going to kick an ass.
Me if I'm wrong.
I love it. How'd that work?
Well, I felt in this situation, correct me if I'm wrong, that you were just shuffling somebody off on me. And I looking back on it, I think that you may have just been in the weeds and you were busy. And she was like, well, no, that guy didn't understand. And then this and that, blah, blah, blah. And it was like, all I heard at that point was excuse. I was really hoping that she was going to say to me, I was in the weeds and I needed help and he didn't understand. And, you know,
It sounds to me like she is not. Yeah, it doesn't sound like she's in a position to be vulnerable.
Yeah. But I said, listen, I go, at the end of the day, I think that me and you have a lot in common and that's okay. But I want to make sure that you know I'm working on it. And I want you to feel like you can come and ask me questions. And I want you to be a little bit more. She is kind of, the way I can describe it is faking it until she makes it. And it's going to take one or two people to completely rip her to shreds that like know auto stuff. And she's going to help them. And they're going to like let her fake it for a little bit. And then they're going to completely kill her like a great white shark. And I don't know how she'll be able to. So I don't want that to happen to her, is what we basically said. Me and David pulled her in and said, we don't want that to happen to you. So like lean in, ask questions, but don't the fake it till you make it. It's not going to work. Because the other day she was like, a C-pillar is leaking water. And we were like, so the tech's looking at the rear of the car because that's a C-pillar. And he comes up and he's like, I can't find a water leak. I mean, so at this point he's wasted 45 minutes. And then she goes, well, it's the driver's front pillar, and that's the A pillar, the driver's side A pillar. So they're called A, B, C, you know, whatever. And so we were asking her, what made you think it was the C? And she goes, well, I thought it was A, B, C, D. It's like, what made you think that? And she was like, I just figured. I go, so you just
And
figured
then
you'd just
believed it.
make it up?
Yeah, and she believes her
Yeah.
thoughts. Okay, we're dealing with okay. There's some childhood issues there.
And I just was like, but why would you,
Mm.
if you don't know, just ask. Like, there's nothing wrong with asking. There's nothing wrong with, and that's why I said to her with David in the office, I said, there's nothing wrong with asking. And you can ask a couple of times, asking a million times until you figure it out.
What you're
Because
saying is super intellectual. Like you're thinking from your like your intellect right now. Her problem is not intellectual.
yeah, hers is emotional.
Totally. She jumps to conclusions. Does not think like intellectually when it comes to vulnerability. She thinks
So,
if I'm just going to jump to the conclusion and because I feel it strongly enough, it's true. Right.
no.
Dunning-Kruger. Have you ever heard of the Dunning-Kruger effect?
Uh-uh.
Those are two scientists. What they found is that when someone starts to learn new information, they tend to inflate how much they know.
Oh,
They're
God.
prideful and they don't, but the problem is they don't have enough knowledge to know how much they don't know.
Yes.
So, like, even the comment, correct me if I'm wrong. She won't ever do that.
Mm.
Right? Because you would have to go into something knowing you don't have enough knowledge. We're just making a guess. This could be way more complicated. I don't understand it enough. I'm seeking understanding. Someone with in the Dunning-Kruger effect, they have a little bit of knowledge and think that's where it's capped. Oh my God, I know it all. And then they tend to inflate what they know and they don't know what they don't know. And they are prone to make a ton of mistakes because they only know the knowns. They don't know the unknowns. So there are
Yeah.
the knowns. There are the known unknowns, the stuff we do know we don't know. And then there's what we don't know we don't know.
Yeah.
She's not even going into the known knowns or the known
Yeah.
unknowns.
Because one day I was like, it makes sense because the one day I was like, how does she not know that the rear electronic brakes cost like a little bit more? Just a little bit. They have to recalibrate something. And anyway, because she's been an internal advisor for 2 years, 2.5 years before she was an advisor. So like they're doing brake jobs, whatever. Anyways, and she goes, learn something new. And I explained it to her that it's like 20 or $30 more. Learn something new. And she said it like as though, okay, so like when I would learn something new like a year ago, I would go on and on all day about it because I was so excited that I learned something new because it had been so long since it was all the same. It was like, it was just the same. I mean, and then like in the summertime, you get a lot of alternators and batteries, and then a lot of AC issues. And then in the wintertime, it's a lot of batteries and a lot of tire pressure issues. It's just the same. It gets turned, it's just so repetitive and boring. So when I would learn something new, I'd be like, did you know?
Yeah.
And I would go around half the day. And
I
I was
love
so
it.
excited to learn something new, and I had to share it with everybody else so that they knew. They're like, no, I don't. And I could tell they didn't believe me, and I was like, well,
let me tell you
it's
something.
true.
That is the best.
But she said something like, learn something new. And I'm like, and you will continue to learn something new for the next 10 years. Every day you should be learning something new.
And it's okay to say, I don't know. This is not my area. But this is their area. Let me introduce you to them. This is like, yeah. So that would take being okay, being vulnerable, being in the middle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that would be something interesting for us to kind of go into is what does that mean to be okay in the middle? So this would be like, I think we might have already had this conversation. So tell me if I'm repeating something.
Mm-hmm.
This would be like saying, I am middle chair. I'm not the first chair in the band. I'm not the best saxophone player, or I'm not the top volleyball player, or I'm not the straightest A student. I'm just kind of like blending in. You'd have to be okay with that.
So when I say that to her, because I said to her, there's nothing wrong with saying, I don't know. Let me find out real quick and I'll be right back.
That's,
So it's never going to happen for her, or could it?
I don't know. I don't know if it's a guess, but I would
Yeah.
assume for her, she'd rather try. She likes to. I mean, and I come across this way very much so. So I feel very confident oftentimes about what I'm saying. And then there may be a lot of unknowns that I don't know yet. So I could go back to my YouTube videos from 10 years ago and I could probably be like, oh, I'm just a baby. Right. And I'm okay with that because I
Yeah.
know I don't know, but I'm going to give you the best I can at this moment. That's that part of the malleability. That's the thing she's might be missing. And we
Mm-hmm.
could go back. There's a story. There's a childhood. There's all the things that she never was given an environment to just be middle chair. She probably was raised in an
Mm-hmm.
environment where you have to be on a
Uh,
pedestal, where you have to be, the spotlight has to be on you. And so the willingness or the ability to be able to convince people based on confidence, Dunning-Kruger oftentimes, right? Because more knowledge does not equate to more confidence. It often equates to being less confident.
mm,
You shift your wording like, I don't know, I could be wrong. You start with softness
mm-hmm.
because you're not just going into, oh, I know, because you could be wrong. And
Mm-hmm.
you would rather know that you're wrong than to just be right and then misguide, right?
Mm-hmm.
But some people have to be willing to feel like I might look dumb. She might have beliefs about being a woman in this field around, well, I have to be a little more machismo. I have to be a little bit more like confident. I have to be like, hold my own. You know what I mean? That's a
Yeah.
thing. I think you've mentioned that. I've had other clients who are like C-suite level clients, and there is this idea around, as a woman, I have to not only be super confident, I have to take up room, I have to make myself take up room, and I also need to look the best, wear all the fanciest shit because everybody thinks, right? Like we have to over and above compensate for the
Mm,
fact that women are seen as emotional, can't handle
yeah.
hard things. But so she might be doing that, you know what I mean? Like trying to create a persona
Mm.
around how she thinks she's going to achieve her mirage fantasy that we've make believed.
I hope that I can manage her.
I think first I would say this in this type of dynamic where she might be avoidant and dismissive. She might have some of the same kind of like I would rather just fight than be wrong
Mhm.
or to be vulnerable. um where you just become really safe for her and talk about vulnerable things,
Mm.
uh work to be vulnerable with her, and you sounds like you've already started that process,
Mhm.
like being consistent around, hey, I could be wrong, but what are your thoughts on this, you know
Mhm.
the other thing is making sure there's a bare minimum amount of knowledge with the people that are working underneath you. How about having a
Yeah.
team meeting around basics, car basics,
Mhm.
so that we all know these common questions like with the battery.
Mhm.
Maybe you put a sheet of paper in like the 10 most common things that I've seen over the course of 20 years. And here are some answers, but there are times you would want to know where it gets specific. Here's your contact for that. I don't know. I
Mhm.
don't know enough about what you do to give you
Yeah.
solutions or
I just think I have to come. I need to, when I hear it, I can't be timid because she gets snippy or whatever.
yeah, you're kind of walking a little bit on eggshells around her ego and her super sensitivity to being seen in a negative light.
Yeah.
That's why I would say in a group setting.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not like you're kind of wrong a lot. When I
Yeah.
heard you, you were wrong.
And I said to her, I go, I really want to be able to come up and approach you, but I feel like I can't. And I need to be able to, because I think that once you know the knowledge, I think you'll be.
So I'm thinking she might be seeing you as competition, or that she's going to project something onto you, okay? This is something you're going to want to like write down and just be observant of, cuz I could be wrong. Okay, I could be wrong cuz I'm guessing here. She is going to think that you're jealous of her. She's going to project some shit. That you're threatened by her. So as a leader, you are not a leader, period, unless someone is willing to be led.
Yeah.
It's a social interaction. So there is no leader in one person. It requires at least two. So the leadership requires the other person is willing to be led. She might need more say in where, you're going to have to learn, what is it that is it autonomy? What does she need to be led? Does she like the freedom? Does she want to feel like she is a part of something? Does she want to have more say in what she's, or because some people just want to be told what to do. They don't want to have to think, right? You have to figure her out. Like, what is, how can someone be a team with her to where she's vulnerable with you as her leader? This is a skill. Sometimes it's just being a servant. Like, how can I help you achieve your goals? Let's focus on what you want to achieve. Let me help you achieve that. How can I serve you? Without being like minimized, or what, I don't know what the word would be, without being like, oh, you're not, where you're clearly competent, you clearly understand where you need to go, where the end goal is, at least on some degree. But does she have an understanding of that end goal? And maybe she needs more buy-in. Maybe you need to work on that. Like, how do I get them to see a vision? Because you need to have it. She needs to have that. Oh, this is coming full circle. She needs to have the make-believe visible. Oh, and feel it's achievable. This is evidence-based information I'm giving you. This is like my PhD is working. She needs to be able to believe and feel she's competent. She has the resources that are necessary, and that it's achievable, and excited, right? That it's motivating, that there's a reward. So what's the reward? What are the tools? Can I achieve it? Is it reachable? So this is where people go into the SMART goals. Simple, right? Measurable, achievable. I can't remember the R and the T, whatever.
So that kind of went south this morning. And then at lunch, I was just like eating my feelings. Oh, okay. And I know I was doing it. I was like, I'm not at like halfway point of my lunch. I didn't eat anymore. And I was like, I'm going to eat the rest of it though.
Oh, that tells me you were feeling unfairly treated. Injustice. We talked about this last time.
And I thought about that as I was eating it.
That's okay. I like the idea that you're thinking about it while you're eating, because to me, this is so unjust. I've been so poorly treated.
Now I want to make myself feel bad.
Exactly. I deserve.
I'm all bloated now. And it's all your fault.
I know. So rude. It's so that's key with emotional eating, is it often comes from feeling unjust, like you've been treated unfairly, and there is injustice and some powerlessness involved in that, right? But that self-righteous part about it So the other thing I would say that I'm going to add to that, that's paired with this, is the fact that you probably are trying to lose weight and you are restricting food.
Mm. I mean, I don't feel like I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go. Let's keep on going.
Yeah.
So you don't feel like you're okay, pause a second. So you did not in any way think, because if I go into the minutia, if I go into the look at it under a microscope, you were justifying that food.
Mm.
So you're dieting. I know. It's like,
Yeah.
fuck. Yeah. It might be so subtle. It's not like we could say that in your history you've done like the ketogenic diet. I did the HCG protocol. I did all these crazy fucked up shit. And it's not extreme, but what you might be doing is trying to cut out the carbs, and you might be trying to intermittent fast a little bit. You might be like, I'm waiting till I'm hungry and thinking that's diet talk. It could be as simple as that. It can be super subtle. The human mind in relation to food is so easily triggered because of how vital it is for our life within days, right? Your access to water and food, super important on a day-to-day, meal to meal. The mind is always kind of holding on to, am I hungry? When do I eat? When did I eat? How much do I have? What are we going to eat next? What sounds good? What are we going to do for lunch? What are we going to do for dinner? Think of how many times you just thought about that today. It's so entwined with our consciousness because, in fact, it is vital to life.
And then, like, as I was overeating, I was like, it's okay. I just won't have dinner tonight. You just reminded me of that. I was like, oh no, that's terrible.
I wasn't dieting. No, not me.
Restricting.
Not me. I don't do that. No, I don't think so.
But I did hear where somebody was like, I think it was on Mel Robbins.
I love her.
Yeah, she's awesome. But
she does a lot of that attachment. She talks a lot about attachment stuff.
So there was a doctor on there who helped with, and I couldn't stand her voice. She had the worst voice. She's a doctor in like New York or Boston or something. And it's just, I remember that I wanted, and I did, I listened to the podcast another time, and they're like 45-minute long segments. And it was like listening to like nails on glass. But she had very good advice. One thing she was talking about is when people want to do that, the binge and restrict, the one thing she tells them to do is to eat.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Just stop restricting.
Yeah.
But that's always because people will say, I will restrict later. So even that, to me,
yeah,
this is my niche field of expertise. This is where my dissertation is. This is my expertise. Is right here.
So it's not doing well, I guess.
No, I think you're doing a wonderful job. I do. I think the fact that when you are overeating, you're conscious about what you're saying and your feelings. Like you recognized, I'm feeling that relative deprivation. Like I've been unjust. This is unfair. Fuck me.
And I knew what it was too. I knew it was that.
That's a win.
Okay.
That's a win.
Okay. And it wasn't super nutritious, but it was.
Oh, stop with the diet bullshit. Just stop. That is why you're having these issues. Quit your cult now.
Oh my God, I thought that was okay.
No, I just stop.
I know.
The problem is that there's probably
wrong.
Exactly. Thank you. Fuck.
Damn it.
Exactly. Just do what I say. Your brain is super sensitive to the tiniest little threats, little tiny threats to access to food. And the whole concept of health, which is important. It's important. I don't want to say like you should go lick some lead paint. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
Go eat something that's going to cause anaphylaxis. Of course, I'm not an extremist like that. But especially if you have a history, you may be more sensitive to the tiny little tweak of, oh, this isn't healthy, whatever the fuck that means. What does that mean?
Yeah.
I can't tell you. I teach a college health and wellness course. What the hell is health? I don't freaking know. Yeah. And neither do you. And neither does the wellness industry that is making a lot of people sick and selling so much bullshit. I'm just saying, your body is capable of being healthy given our environment where we have so much surplus, so much access to nutrition, supplementation. Did you have any supplements today?
Yeah.
Well, then why the fuck did you care? You see what I mean? It's like, do you believe in your nutritional supplementation or do you got to get through your food? Of course, we want to get through our food because then it digests better, it absorbs better. But you know what? Take a supplement. We have so much nutrition. Your pee is full of nutrition. It just doesn't all absorb. How much protein do we really need?
Right? Yeah. Is too much protein, like, can that cause you to, like, gain weight? Or, I mean, I guess, like, there's all this talk about, oh, like, you need however many, like, grams of protein a day.
You're listening to the wellness industry. I mean, yeah, there's truth to all of it, right? There's like where you're nutritionally deficient. Yes, and you're going to have all sorts of problems and you're going to have B12 issues and blah, blah, blah. But you're not that. Yeah. Yeah. You're walking on eggshells around whatever health is. If you have to be like counting all the grams of protein you eat to be healthy, holy shit, you're underlying super unhealthy.
Yeah.
Just consider what I just said. If I have to manage my macros and micros and make sure that I eat on a timing schedule and make sure I'm making sure that I get enough protein, and what types of protein. Is it whey protein? Did you add a carb to it? Don't forget, I got to take, do you know if you take all of that away, if that's what the body needs at baseline to be healthy, holy shit, you're on the verge of dying of disease.
Yeah.
Super distorted.
I seriously do not enjoy tracking.
Then don't. Can I give you permission as your private, personal health guru from all dimensions of health, which is all the things, because I'm such an expert at whatever health is. Quit. So that you can start to rely on your body, because the game you're playing with, am I eating healthy? Just put that aside. Put it aside. Let's put it in a box to be opened later. I would try to get rid of all concepts of what health and wellness is in terms of food and your weight. I know this sounds radical. It's really not. It's quite vanilla. What you're doing is radical. Okay. Imagine being 5 years old again and you live in all this abundance and there is no dangerous food. You remember that? Go back to that. What sounds good? A peanut butter and jelly sandwich on white bread with
backbone and cheese.
Then go have some tonight when you get hungry. Like, go get the extra cheesy. Don't worry about just the powder. Oh, hell yeah. That powder with butter. Just full butter. Fuck yeah. Yummy. Put some pepper on that. Maybe cut up a hot dog. Put a hot dog in it. And just eat it until you are not full, but you feel like you could go walk 3 miles after you ate. That's the sweet spot. Is that scary what I just said to you?
So not full.
So let's talk about it. Let's talk about the hunger scale really quick.
Yeah.
Well, there's a hunger and there's the fullness scale. Okay. So think of the 1 to 10. So I have split it up. So imagine it's like an upside down U or a rainbow. Okay. 0 to 1 to 10. Okay. So 0 to 5 is hunger. 6 to 10 is fullness. So there's a hunger side of the scale and there's a fullness side of the scale. Okay. On the hunger side, if we're at the top of the hill, top of the rainbow, you're neutral. You're not full, you're not hungry, there's nothing. Okay? When you start to get hungry, it starts to go down the hill, right? And there's the 4. So you go from 5 to 4. 4 is hunger, but you could wait. Time isn't as important. It's kind of like, oh yeah, I should probably maybe think about eating before our meeting in an hour because I don't want to be starving in the meeting. So you're aware that hunger's arising. Okay. And that's not desire. It's not anticipated worry about hunger. Because a lot of people will think they're hungry because they're anticipating being hungry and they're scared to get hungry. That's not hunger either. It's when you're actually like, oh, I could go to a restaurant and wait for wait staff and look at a menu. That takes patience. You're still hungry, but you're patient. Okay, so when it leaves the 4 and heads and ticks down towards the 3, time becomes important. The urgency to eat goes up, and it goes up pretty quickly. So at a 4, you might have been able to wait an hour. At a 3, you got 5 minutes. You're fast food, dude. Fast food. That 3 to 2 is where the fast food industry makes bazillions of dollars. Because it's matching. It matches the timing. It needs to be fast. It needs to be starchy. It needs to be quickly eatable and quickly digestible. Why would you go get like a nice steak with a salad when you really you see what I'm saying? So discriminately how we choose to eat changes based on the biology of what's going on in our brain with those neuropeptides that create this agitation. Hunger is an agitation. It's an irritability, right? It's a pain. It's an actual pain, which is why we get so irritable. So that's 3, 2, you're like hangry, you're not nice. You might be getting sensitive to light, auditory, like I can't think straight. And then a 1, hunger goes away because now you're starving. And the body is actually utilizing all of these other fueling mechanisms within the body to maintain blood sugar. So there is one of my lectures, it's recent on my YouTube channel. It's like leptin and the hunger scale, or listen to that lecture. There's a couple of them.
Okay.
So it's me and the students where I talk about all this bullshit, but you might appreciate it.
Okay.
They're like an hour and 15-minute lectures. So, okay. So on the other side of the scale, so let's just say it's you're to 3. So you are hungry. It's a little urgent. You're not a 2 yet, but you're like, okay, I need to eat here in the next 10 minutes. So this is when you would get an appetizer.
Okay.
Or get a beer, because a beer is like, all right, this is something. I almost said nutritional, but is it though? Or is it just pleasure and hops? Little bit of, it's got digestive enzymes. Right? Okay. So when you're at a 3, you're going to choose to eat food. You want to choose something that sounds good to you. If you're at a 3.5, you're more likely to be patient and go to the restaurant and actually order the sushi that you want and be able to take the time, maybe have a little sake and enjoy the atmosphere. So ideally you don't get to a 2, right? Because then you're just urgent and you don't have the patience to actually choose for pleasure. So at a 3, 3.5, you might be like, ooh, I want the enchiladas. I'd like the greens, whatever. Choose pleasure. Then you start to eat, and your goal is to actually taste the food. You want to interact with it. Have you heard me talk about this before?
No, but I've heard about it. I mean, it might have been.
Okay, you really need to find the lecture because I'm not going to do it justice with how much, Okay, so you're going to eat, you're going to enjoy it, you want to taste it, you want the pleasure, because pleasure is a huge, huge part of satiation.
Okay.
So if you don't get the pleasure, meaning in the mouth, in the tongue, on inside the mouth, you're more likely to eat based on intellect, which is not functional. What I mean by that is, oh, I've had enough. I was only supposed to have 3 bites. I shouldn't have any more. Or, oh my God, I was supposed to be able to eat like only 30 grams of protein, and I don't want to overeat the protein because then I'm just taxing my kidneys. It's, you see all that intellect and noise. It's fucking noise, is what
Mm-hmm.
that is. So your goal is to eat for pleasure, period, and you're listening to it. No guilt, no shame. You're talking to it. You're actually savoring it. What you're looking for is when hunger subsides, that does not mean fullness arises. Fullness is different. It's not the same mechanism. It's not the same biology. That's mechanistic, mechanical, distension of the gut, feelings of fullness. That's not a Goody strand and leptin and all of the things that create agitation or urge to eat. You're looking for the removal of that urge. That is also very separate than pleasure, because you can still be enjoying the food and hunger is subsiding. Your hunger is being removed. So you've got to be able to, in the moment, be able to say, hey, dopamine, hey, oh, that oxytocin, delicious, yum, family, I'm with with my boyfriend, it's a date, blah, blah, blah. And you got to be able to say, pause. If I had to go help my friend move furniture for 5 hours, how much more would I eat?
Mm.
If I had to go walk uphill for 3 miles in 30 minutes, how much would I eat right now? That's a simple thing, right? How much would you eat? What would you feel like? Would you want to be super full and burpy and like, oh my God?
Mm-hmm.
Notice you just, no, why would you do that? It's that. That's how you regulate. Try that. It's not anxious. You're not worried. You're not insecure. You're not self deprecating. I'm such a
Weighing it.
loser. Exactly. No, stop with that bullshit. You're making yourself sensitive to over consuming. Emotional eating is actually about emotional dieting, and you're emotionally dieting, and the emotion of the dieting comes from all of this fear that your body's unhealthy. Maybe you're afraid of your waist to hip ratio. Maybe you've got pre-diabetes. There's a lot of things that can make people scared and emotional about dieting.
Mm-hmm.
This is a whole part of our work together that we're just kind of starting to get into.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, are you taking any of this in?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my, I can tell that you're like, oh, oh, this is too much. Robin's fucking crazy. Why did I
Well,
do
no,
this?
but it's not. It's actually super easy.
Yes.
It means that everything
Chills out.
before was, yeah,
Chill out.
yeah.
Quit the religion with food. Just fucking quit it. You can always go back to it. But let's just take a break and see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Right.
I'm curious.
Me too.
Notice how confident I am in my curiosity. I've done this. This is not my first rodeo. As soon as you quit, you're about to have a way easier time. I'm also taking advantage of the privilege that you don't have type 2 diabetes, that you don't have all sorts of like lymphedema or any of these,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I approach clients differently depending on really the intensity of where they're at. But in this case, we get the luxury and the privilege of just saying, pause.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let's just take out the moral codes and the ethics around like what's good and bad food. Let's just remove that. Let's go have mac and cheese tonight with maybe some orange slices.
I don't even have mac and cheese here.
Go buy it. My God. It's a buck.
Because if I had it here, oh my God, I might eat it.
Well, so this is the cool and exciting thing. So here's something I'm going to have you practice. I'm so excited to follow up with you to see how this goes. So make a list of foods you used to eat as a kid or something that you like would love to eat, and just know it might not taste as good as it used to because
Mm-hmm.
food has changed, and also your palate may be different. But mac and cheese is pretty good, especially when it's made with salty butter. Just make sure you use the salted butter. Fill your plate up, and I want you to eat it not based on the sight of how much you have on your plate. So overfill the plate. Yeah, it's so opposite of the diet, okay? Overfill the whole plate. Ranch dressing on whatever you want. I don't give a shit, okay? What you're to do is you're to make sure you're hungry. You want to be around a 3 on that hunger side. It's urgent, but not too urgent. But you do need to eat. And you should be excited to be eating. And then I want you to eat it as if you're about to go help your friend move furniture for 5 hours. So you wouldn't want to overeat, but you'd want to eat enough. So that you're confident it's going to be hours before you're going to be hungry again.
Yeah.
So everything you fit includes your White Claw. It includes that glass of wine. It includes, I want chips and salsa or a little bit of guacamole with the chips. Yeah, include it in there, and you're to taste it. You're to be like, ooh, is it salty? Is it crunchy? Does it need lime? Actually be discriminative about the pleasure. And then you are to, the moment you're like, oh, if I had to go walk 5 miles or 3 miles up hill, I'd probably stop right now and save this for when I get back. Perfect. That's when you stop, put it aside. You can have it when you get hungry again. Mm-hmm. And actually, I want you to be curious. Be curious about what this is going to feel like. And if you do this for 2 straight weeks, you're going to be blown away. But the key is actually getting accurate in the signal. So you may find, like, when you have a moment where you're like, poor me, I've been mistreated, those assholes, I'm going to kick their ass, I'm going to show them who they are, that you're in that moment, you need to actually say, hey, I'm going to wait till I cool down, and then let's assess if I'm hungry or not. Because I can eat anytime I want. I can eat anything I want. Nothing is off limits. If you want Mike and Ike's, you go, girl. Brush your teeth after.
Yeah.
You want the table of abundance. Have you heard any of my descriptions of the table of abundance? This is also written in my book, Diet Supremacy. I think I talk about the table of abundance, or maybe it's I can't remember. I haven't read my books in years. I think it might be Diet Supremacy. I can't remember. Okay, nonetheless, that doesn't matter. The table of abundance, I want you to imagine all food is on this table. Fruits, vegetables, pastries, cakes, pies, pastas, breads, everything you can imagine, every meat, every style of food. You live in a castle and there's like 20 chefs from around the world. You can get anything you want every day, all day long, and it's constantly replenished. So if you want a bowl of shredded wheat with golden grams, go for it. Anything and everything. Okay? Mac and cheese, a croquette, I don't care. Everything you can imagine. You're hungry for Marionberry pie with ice cream, you can go to that table, get yourself a slice of it with a little bit of vanilla bean ice cream, and then you can go back for more and more and more and more. And guess what? 5 more pies show up. How does that sound? First thought.
A little scary.
Oh, okay. No judgment. I get curious because was that your initial feeling? Was that the front of the feeling? Or was that a secondary feeling?
I think maybe it was a second, like a little bit of excitement.
Okay. Okay. So it was excitement. It wasn't gross.
Oh, not gross.
Sounds heavy. Sounds like too much.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. That tells me a lot about how much you've been dieting. So, and it doesn't have to be extreme. It's just like there's probably always something running in the background. Oh, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that. Oh, you should be doing this. Oh, no. That sucks for you. Mm-hmm. That really sucks. I'm sorry. That's a form of suffering. Low-lying suffering that's going on in the background. Okay. get excited because that table of abundance is actually real. Do you know how much food you can get delivered?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's real. It's just not doesn't happen to be on your table in the dining room, but you can get anything you want. So, what would happen given that table is available to you for the rest of your life?
Well, I would hopefully not
Don't do
become a
that.
whale.
Pause. You already went there. Rewind. You just gave me your dieting bullshit. Go
Okay.
back. Forever. Forever.
Yeah. I would enjoy what I wanted when I wanted, and I wouldn't have guilt or, you know,
Keep on going. You're
I
there.
would enjoy it. I would savor it.
Would you sit there all day, and just keep on eating and eating and eating?
No, it would get boring. Yeah.
You hit it.
Yeah.
Loses its power. It would become like,
Yeah.
the whole forbidden fruit thing kind of goes, it loses its magic. Well, I can have popcorn balls anytime I want a popcorn ball. Okay. Well, do I really want a popcorn ball? Well, no, maybe not right now. But you know what sounds really good is sourdough bread, really soury sourdough with salty butter on it, and maybe with some raspberry jam. You know what I mean? Like it gets specific. You get specific around what actually sounds good. That's talking to that hedonic area of the brain through the receptor sites in the mouth. So you're actually now talking to your system. And chances are, one of these days, you're going to like, you know what I really want is some pot roast and like mashed potatoes and gravy. Or, right, it's something as simple as like mac and cheese. Every so often, it's like, oh, you know what? That sounds really good. Or like top ramen. Beef flavored top.
We were just talking about top ramen.
Oh, there's nothing like it.
Yeah.
It's just the salty. I like the chicken. My son makes an amazing version of it. Well, there's some great, really fresh ramen places, right, that you can go to that are so good. But even if you were just go get the Marsh, I don't know what it is, but like whatever the top ramen brand is, and make it, and then put a little sour cream in it.
Really?
Try it. You're welcome.
Well, have you seen when people put like an egg in it?
Oh yeah.
And, like make it creamy.
Yeah, yummy. I'm here for it. I've been living at the table of abundance since my near-death experience. It's never gone away from me. So there is, to me, and to the clients I've worked with who have like transitioned to the table of abundance permanently, it's wild. The power that food has goes down. It doesn't go away because we have to have food and we start to really enjoy the freedom we have with it. But the impulse to overconsume or to consume for justify, because you don't have to justify anything at the table of abundance. There's no need to justify anything. It's always available. Birthday cake, turkey with stuffing, sushi, like delicious Indian food with whatever naan you want and whatever type of rice. You like basmati. I mean, what do you want?
And dips.
Yes, like you get it all. And there's no like, well, I guess I'll eat less later. No. Why would you do that? You have food all the time. So what are you going to overeat right now? Hurt your body? Feel like shit when you could just eat less of whatever the fuck you want for the rest of your life, given the privilege of that. So it's worth at least a practice. So once someone gets used to this and they start to practice it and they realize that, wow, I don't really need as much food as I was eating before. And why would I be counting all of these points or macros? Or it just becomes a little more personalized at that point. Because some people like to understand the nutritional value. There's great value in that. I don't want to disparage that. But I think in this situation, it's actually hindering you because you need to work on other things first. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think it's time for you to go sit at the table of abundance. But the point at which you stop on that fullness side of the scale, I would say you want to get to a solid 6. So a 5 is like neutral. You probably should eat a little more. Remember, you want to be able to go for a 3-mile run or a 5-mile hike, um, and not be hungry in the middle. So
Mhm.
ideally, you go to the 6. And so the 6 is satiated, you're satisfied. You could totally eat more, but you don't want to feel like shit because you're gonna go move furniture with your friend or whatever that is. And
Mhm.
you could always go back for more. So it's not like so remember when you were a kid and you were so into the playing and you were like, "Oh, I don't wanna go in," and my mom's like, "Come get your food," and you're like, "I don't want to," but then you go in, you eat, and you leave, and you go play?
Mhm.
That's what we want food to be for you.
Okay.
It's important, it's gonna get rid of that hungry, but I wanna go play. And of course you
Mhm.
wanna, like, enjoy the grapes with your little your sandwich that's cut in a bias with its, like, peanut butter and jelly.
Mhm.
Go back to that, and let's just start over and play with that range between the 3, 3.5, and the 6,
Mhm.
6.5. That's the Goldilocks zone,
Mhm.
but you get to eat whatever the hell you want. So I would start there and then see how it goes. Okay?
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna be done or